Hey Brainiacs, how you guys doing today? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of My Humble Opinion. I am at Cam's Brain, and today we are going to be talking about a very important topic, and that topic is concealing your intentions. Do you think it's necessary to conceal your intentions when you're dealing with certain people, or do you think it's okay to be completely forthright, outgoing, and just transparent in everything that you're doing? I think that there are a lot of different reasons why you should probably conceal your intentions. Now, again, this is a paragraph coming from the book 48 Laws of Power. I kind of discussed in the first episode of season 2 of My Humble Opinion that we're going to go through each paragraph or each parable, whatever word you want to use, out of this book. Now, for me, there's a lot of different ways that you can spin this concept of concealing your intentions. Myself personally, in my humble opinion, I use it sometimes in a spiritual way, right? Where sometimes you have to be careful what you tell people because their energy, that negative energy, can attach itself to you. And then it kind of puts you in a position where you may not be able to accomplish your goals as easily as you would without the person you're sharing this information with. For example, if I'm a business owner and I'm trying to accomplish, I don't know, getting a sales tax ID, or I'm trying to accomplish getting a liquor license, or I'm trying to just accomplish getting a contract with a corporate company to come in and use my establishment, and I mess around and I tell the building or the establishment next to me what I have going on, it could very well be that the people next to me in the business may want the business that I'm getting, and they figure out a way to kind of stop or halt what I have going on. For me, that's how I take the concept of concealing your intentions, right? Obviously, the book itself is basically saying that sometimes what you need to do is lead people on so that they don't know exactly what it is your true intentions are, right? For instance, you may have somebody that comes and wants to be your friend. We kind of talked about this in the last episode, where it's like, or use your enemies, don't trust your friends as much. Concealing intentions, in my opinion, the definition of that from the book itself is basically saying, don't let people know why you're really dealing with them, right? So you could be trying to be nice to somebody because you want something that they have. Now, obviously, majority of the people don't think that way, or hopefully most people don't think that way. However, what you want to do is be aware of that, right? You want to be aware of somebody that comes into your life, basically being a yes man, telling you everything that you want to hear, because that person can be trying to build a relationship with you just to get something from you. And that's the worst type of situation you want to be in. Now, again, like I said, I use it in many different aspects. Sometimes your kids will come to you and be super nice to you because they want something from you. Be aware of that too. I find that a lot of times things around the house get done because my kiddos want something from me. So, they'll probably sweep, mop, clean up, and then right after that's done, they ask me for something. So, this saying, it's used, whether people know this book or not. A lot of this is like embedded in people's personalities, is embedded in the way people live, and honestly, the way people survive. But concealing your intentions, it's a very interesting statement. It's a very interesting action. It can also be a situation where it's not necessarily a negative thing. Like, a lot of people conceal intentions when they're trying to surprise somebody. A lot of times you can't jump to a conclusion when you feel like somebody's being odd or there's, weird behavior. They could just be concealing an intention because you got a birthday party coming up, or just because they're trying to figure out how they can do something nice for you. I think the best way to determine what's going on when you look at this sentence in this paragraph or parable in this way is to know the person that you're dealing with and to ask questions, right? At the end of the day, people can try to blind you from certain things, and that's fine. But as an individual, it's up to you to maturely request, that questions be answered. If you feel like somebody's concealing their intentions, ask questions, ask them, what they're doing. Create a dialogue where you ask questions that would align with you getting the right answers that you need in order for you to feel comfortable with what you feel like is being concealed. And if you're able to do that maturely, then what happens is you're able to decipher exactly what's going on. And sometimes you're able to figure out, hey, it's not that important to me to see, what this person's intentions are, so on and so forth. But like I said, for myself, I conceal my intentions in the sense of not letting everybody know what I have going on. Like I said before, sometimes when people know what you have going on, it creates jealousy, it creates envy, it creates hate, it creates betrayal, it creates a lot of different things. Now, there's also a flip side too. If you're very confident in the person that you're talking to, it could be a situation where if you express what you're going through or express what you're trying to do, some people may be able to help you, right? So it's a double-edged sword when you look at it in its entirety. But in the reality of the situation is, like I said, the book itself is talking about people concealing their intentions when they're trying to do something that they don't want somebody else to know that they're doing, period. So the key too is to be aware of these type of people, to be aware of the people who say less, but beware of the people who talk too much. Sometimes you have people that are very astute, right? They're very intelligent, so they say less so that they can try to figure you out, which means you need to say less. The less people know about you, the less they can use against you. And then you have some people that talk a lot, like just always having something to say. The fast talkers, the smooth talkers, all those type of people. Those are people that you sometimes have to be careful around. I know for myself, if you tell me you from Chicago, I shut my mouth. I don't know what it is, but every time I meet somebody from Chicago, that's a different type of breed down there. Them dudes down there and women, period. Like, they are some hustlers, boy. They will hustle the brakes off of you. I'm trying to think of a specific time when somebody concealed their intentions from me and it ended up negatively. Oh, well, you know what? I do remember a time. I remember I may have been 18 or 19. Now, at the time, I was doing party promotion, and I was dealing with a couple. It was a guy and a female, and they actually had a talent competition that they wanted to do at a club that I was actually promoting. Now, the interesting part about this was the location that they wanted to do it at. I was, like I said, had a contract with them, but at the same time, I also had contracts with many different spots. Now, the spot that they really wanted ended up being my father's location, which was a very prominent nightclub in DeKalb County in Atlanta, right? So they ended up befriending me and trying to do a little bit of work with me as it related to doing party promotions and stuff like that with some of the smaller venues that I had. But at the end of the day, the reality of the situation was they were actually trying to butter me up so that they can get the bigger venue, which was my father's spot. Now, here's the thing. They didn't have the money to pay. So what they were trying to do basically was build a rapport with me, build a relationship with me. That way, when the time came for them to ask me for a favor, they would be able to use the bigger venue for a bigger party and pay less. So those are one of those things that kind of went left, because what ended up happening was when the time came for them to do the event, they still weren't able to come up with the money that they needed, even at a discounted price. Everything unraveled because the day prior, the guy that I was dealing with, the male and female couple, I was dealing with the guy on a different business venture, and he ended up stiffing me on a payment for some work that I was doing for him. So they had also tried to build a relationship with my father at the club too, outside of my relationship, so that there was a sense of like comfortability and friendship there. But what ended up happening, when the guy stiffed me on an unrelated project, I called my dad up, let him know what was going on, and I told him, look, they haven't paid me on this. And he goes, well, they haven't paid me on my end yet either, but they told me that they'll take care of me at the end of the night. So they felt as though they were in so good with him, and honestly with me, that they would finesse the situation, make the money, in one foul swoop that one night, and then pay both of us that night. Now, some people may go, okay, let them do it. But at the end of the day, I guess sometimes you can call it intelligence, sometimes you can call it arrogance or ignorance. But in my case, it was about respect, and I realized what they were doing. So I ended up calling my old man and letting them know what was going on. And he said, well, look, at the end of the day, I'm gonna let them know straight up. Now, before they come into the spot, they have to pay you what they owe you from the other project, and they have to pay me what they owe me. So at the end of the day, they weren't happy about that. Now that I'm older and I look at it from a different standpoint, technically all they had to do was pay him. I'm pretty sure it was probably contractual that they just owed him, whatever they agreed on, or maybe they didn't do a contract because they were trying to, nickel and dime. But at the end of the day, that was one time when people were concealing their intentions against me, but I was able to figure out how to kind of come out on top. But that's just an example of some of the things that you have to look out for, especially in business, when you have somebody that's trying to either get over or kind of be like you or do better than you. And it's okay to be that way, but it's also important that you're transparent, the people that you're dealing with transparent, or you're aware of what's going on. Now here's the thing, I'm from New York, right? So at the end of the day, I've always grew up with the concept of at some point you're gonna get screwed, right? Like at some point, something is not gonna work out the way you want it to work out. So you really literally have to figure out how much you want to get screwed. And so for me, if you're upfront with me about you're trying to get over, I'm okay with that. So I'll give you an example, right? Back in the day, I used to do marketing and things like that, and I would sell business cards, brochures, pamphlets, all that type of stuff. I had a person that came to me and basically said that they wanted to, resell my work, and they were going to sell it for a higher price than what they were paying me, which is okay. I mean, at the end of the day, that's basically what you call wholesale, right? But a lot of people end up doing those type of things without making you be aware. And then what happens is when you're not aware, your prices can fluctuate and it doesn't line up with what somebody else is doing, so it makes bad business. So the fact that this person was upfront with me about what they were trying to do made it so much a better situation because I was completely aware. And if I was losing money or I was making less money, that was okay with me because I was aware. And it's also a respect factor when it comes to that. But yeah, that's one time when somebody tried to conceal their intentions. It's a good example of like what you have to be aware of. But yeah, you just gotta be aware. But again, like I said, guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and leave your definition of concealing your intentions in the comments below. Let's have a conversation. Let's all get involved. Make sure that you turn on your notification bells, and I'll see you next time. This has been my humble opinion. I'm at Cam's Brain. Peace.